Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Slam Talk Sports. It is Friday afternoon, 1:12 p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia. And, of course, being a Friday, it is time for the round ahead. Yes, Slam Talk Sports Round 13 preview is now in your ears and in your eyes. But before we get stuck into the round ahead, we're going to talk about Thursday night football. But before we do that, very special this week, we've got to talk about the first game of the NBA Finals. I just watched it. It just finished. Oh my God, what a game, what a finish. The Indiana Pacers go to Oklahoma City after they've had a 10-day break and take them in game one. They take the Chocolates. They get the result. They're up 1-0 in the series. And it was my man, Tyrese Halliburton, who hit the game-winning shot as he so often does in the last 5 seconds of this contest. And now I know I've been crying all week. I've been very upset about the fact that Tyrese Halliburton did not win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP at the juicy odds of 41-1 that I got on a couple of months ago. You know what? I'm upset about that. I should have an extra $400, but I'm just happy now that Tyrese Halliburton is getting the credit he deserves. He hit another game-winning shot when the stakes were at their highest, and it was a brilliant all-round performance from the Indiana Pacers, coming back down from 15 points in the last quarter. I think they were down 15 points with about 9 minutes remaining. For some reason, the water went off in Oklahoma City, the taps were dry, and Indiana just kept finding a way to generate scores and generate stops. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had about 35, 36 points, but he wasn't clutch. He wasn't the clutch time killer that Tyrese Halliburton was today. And it was Miles Turner, who was asleep for the first 3 quarters, but then pops up with 15 points to help swing this contest. It is going to be a tremendous NBA Finals, and the fact that Indiana have taken game one gives me a lot of confidence they can actually win the title. Yeah, this is real. People still weren't talking about Indiana being a realistic threat this morning. I thought, it's a sweep. OKC are winning 4 or 5 games at worst. Indiana are a Timu OKC. That's not the case. Indiana have been the second best team in the league since January 1st. Obviously, Oklahoma City have been the best, but these are the 2 best teams in the NBA over the last 5-6 months. It's just true. These are the 2 most informed teams, and Indiana now finally getting the respect. Now they're knocking on the door of an NBA title. They're finally getting some respect. Halliburton, Siakam, Turner, Nembhard, Neesmith, Mathurin, Toppin, McConnell. Remember these names, okay? These could be NBA champions in 2 weeks' time. I cannot wait for the rest of this series. That's enough for NBA. It's time to get stuck into what you all came here for. It is the round ahead. It is time for Slam Talk Sports Round 13 preview. And of course, we go back to Thursday night football. And it was the Hawks taking down the Western Bulldogs. Now, I will show you a few stats from last night's game to get you in the mood, to help you understand, like, what the hell? What happened last night? Well, the Hawks were simply too good for the Dogs, especially in the first half. They jumped them. Was it 5 goals in the first quarter for Hawthorn? Ultimately, that was the difference throughout the evening. The Dogs crawled their way back at times to be within, 10 points, 12 points, but that margin was never quite breached. Hawthorn set themselves up with a very dominant first quarter. And as an impartial fan watching at home, I'm sitting there scratching my head. I'm thinking, how the hell have the Dogs been jumped after having, an 11-day break into Thursday night football, while the Hawks have just been trounced last Friday night by Collingwood at the MCG? Then look a bit deeper. You look at all the fixtures, the data, and what's unfolded over the last couple of months, it starts to make a little bit more sense. It's a rich tapestry of the Dogs beating shit teams. Just look at it. Look at the fixture. Look at what happened. The Dogs smashed Port. They smashed North in round 1. They smashed the Saints. They smashed the Bombers. They beat no one good, though. They realistically beat no one in the top 8. They lost to Collingwood, lost to Hawthorn, lost to the Cats. They haven't got any real scalps. Bevo and the Dogs are 6-6. This is not a team that should inspire that much confidence going forward. They're going to beat the average teams. They probably won't beat the very good teams because they themselves are not very good. Hawthorn, on the other hand, they might be a decent team still. They might be all right. We know last night they didn't have Nick Watson. They didn't have James Sicily. And, of course, they don't have Will Day, who now has the headset on. I don't have the headset with me right now. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. If you're watching on the YouTube. We had Will Day with the headset on like this, Coach Will Day. Now, Coach Will Day could be the secret success for Hawthorn because they need a leader out there. This is the man that called the meeting, that led the meeting during the week to say, boys, we're doing this chippy, crappy game style, worrying about me, getting my stats. No, we've got to be direct. We've got to be honest with each other. We need to get the ball forward to centre and put it on the scoreboard, not worry about going these little sideways kicks and ensuring that you're safe in the team. Hawks, they played great footy last night. It was Charlie who had an absolute day out against Ryan Gardner. It was also their smalls. They looked pretty good together. You know, your C-Max, your Dylan Moores, even your Jack Gettermans holding the ball out to the crowd, holding the ball out to the doggies players. I thought the Hawks looked very connected last night. It was a performance they kind of needed to have to save their season. Lose that game, lose to a team that's probably beneath them. Let's be serious, the Dogs are beneath them when both teams are at full strength. So to win last night, missing a few players, was a really, really encouraging performance. On the Dog side of things, well, when's a penny going to drop for this team? They've got too much talent. When things don't go well with their midfield, they don't win many games. That's the issue with the Dogs. You've got Libba, Treloar, Richards, Bont, Kennedy. All these players would walk into most midfields in the comp. But unless they all have great games and they just flung the ball around, they're just flinging around to each other and dominate possessions, they don't win many games. Sam Darcy comes back next week. That's great. Is Sam Darcy going to save you for this season? I don't think so. I don't think the Dogs are progressive enough to be a challenger this year, even with a fit and firing Sam Darcy. They're probably a year or two away, but I'm not ready to give up on them just yet. I just know realistically they're not a contender this season. Hawthorn can still be one if they get their act together. It is a long season. As Albo said last night and throughout the week, premierships aren't won in May and June. They're won in September. I cannot wait to see what the Hawks do for the rest of the season. Let's move forward to the Friday night preview. Now, it is a big game over in Adelaide tonight. Friday night footy at the Adelaide Oval. We've got the Adelaide Crows taking on your reigning premiers, the Brisbane Lions. The line is 8.5 points. The Adelaide Crows weigh. Now, these are the ins and the outs. In comes Rory Laird. And out goes Sid Draper, the top pick from last year's draft for the Adelaide Crows. In comes Ty Gallop for his debut, and out goes Darcy Gardner. Now, the line, as I said, is 8.5 points. It should be a close contest. In fact, the last three games they've played have been really good games. We had Brisbane win by a couple of goals at the end of last year. We also had a draw, I think, at the Adelaide Oval early in the year. And the year before that, it was, I think, a one-goal game. So these two sides are very evenly matched. They have played some really good contests. It should be a little bit wet, though, tonight at the Adelaide Oval. They're predicting up to, 8 to 10 millimetres of rain. We'll see how that plays out. Personally, I'm going with the Crows. I think that they're so good at home. They've lost, I think, one game at home this year, which was against the Cats in Gather Round. So it is a tough opponent. Brisbane are going okay. They're not going great guns. I mean, they barely beat Essendon last week. They beat Hawthorn at the G, which was a pretty handy win. But I feel like they're lacking something right now. It wouldn't shock me if they win this game. It should be a close game, but I am backing Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. I think they're pretty strong at home, and they should be able to get it done with that tremendous forward line, even in the wet. From a betting perspective, I don't mind Ben Keys anytime, Isaac Rankin anytime, and Jordan Dawson anytime. Now, I'm not going to put all of those in any sort of multi, but Ben Keys is $1.50. He kicks goals for fun. Isaac Rankin's $1.40. Now, he got suspended in this game last year, delivering a bump to Starcevic, which cost Isaac Rankin 4 weeks. So this is an opposition he has some history with. And Jordan Dawson at $2 for any time. He's been playing heaps more forward over the last few weeks. It's going to be wet, but he'll have his opportunities. At $2, I think that's really good value, even against a very strong team. Disposals-wise, well, I always stick with these three Brisbane Lions players. They seem to be rewarding me very, very often. Lachie Neale, 25 touches. Will Ashcroft, 25 touches. And Hugh McCluggage, 25 touches. Now, they're not all guarantees. I mean, probably one of them won't have 25 touches. But most weeks, these guys do have 25 disposals. And at that price, $1.40, $1.35, $1.40, I'm willing to find out in what could be a wet game where they have to heavily rely on their ball winners. I think they're all decent value for tonight's contest. Let's move forward to Saturday afternoon football, and it is Richmond hosting the Sydney Swans at the MCG. Let's look at the teams in for for Richmond comes Noah Bolter. Out goes Campbell Gray. Now, why on earth has Campbell Gray been dropped? I just don't get it. He's been great in the games he's played for Richmond, filling in for Noah Bolter. He's even played forward at times for the Tigers. Why is he then being dropped when you got someone like, I don't know, a first-year player in Luke Traynor who's struggling to have an impact over the last couple of weeks? Maybe he has a spell in the Rezzies. Maybe, Bolter plays forward. I'm not sure exactly what you want to do, but I don't think Campbell Gray should have been omitted this week. In for the Sydney Swans, Sam Wicks, Callum Mills, Aaron Francis, Harry Cunningham, and Tom Hanley. You have to make some wholesale changes after a disgusting loss last week to the Crows, losing by 90 points. Out goes Matt Roberts with an illness. Out goes Caleb Mitchell, Joel Hamling, Caden Cleary, and Peter Ladd-Hems. Now, I think almost all of them were omitted. Hamling, Mitchell, and Cleary all dropped. Ladd-Hems injured, Roberts illness. The line is 13.5 points Richmond's way. The fact that Richmond have won, 3-4 games and are now clear favourites against last year's minor premier and grand finalists shows how quickly footy can turn. Sydney couldn't beat anyone right now. They are in such bad form. And I know they have injuries, but Papley and Goulden shouldn't result in you losing by 100 points. And it shouldn't result in you being 2-goal underdogs against Richmond. What has happened to the Swans? Swannies fans out there, please tell me. Don't just blame injuries, because every club has injuries. Don't just tell me, first year head coach, it means we can lose by 100 points. That's not how it works. Is it game plan? Is it a lack of belief among the players? Is it just a massive widespread drop in form? There's more than one reason why it's all going wrong at Sydney this year, even with Goulden being out from the pre-season. Everyone still had Swans as a top 8 team. Some thought they could still win the flag. It has been a diabolical season up in Sydney for the Swans. And can they turn it around? Because a loss against Richmond would really put the pressure on their coaching staff and their players. I know, it's 1 year. We'll come back next year. We're the Swans. We're a proud club. I don't know. I don't know if it's all guaranteed to be fine next season when you've got a coach who's made a lot of poor moves, in my opinion, who's been incredibly negative, who's played full-backs for their career at full forward, who's played all players out of position, some to very, very little effect. I just think they need to win this game desperately. Having said all that, I'm still picking the Tigers. I think the Tigers are playing great footy. They should have been the Giants last week at Giants Stadium. Still call it Giants Stadium? I think it's NG Stadium these days. I mean, they're very unlucky to concede a 5-goal lead. They're much better at the G. I think they'll get the jockeys here. I think they'll get the business done. I think the Tigers will win by about a goal. Betting-wise, I don't mind Sam Banks for 20-plus touches. If you've been following Richmond and how they use the ball off the half-back line since Jaden Short has gone out, Sam Banks has been the man. Now, I know Bolter will take kickouts. He usually takes about maybe 3 or 4 when he's in the side, but Banks gets a lot of pill off the half-back flank. He's had 20, I think, the last 4 or 5 games, including games where he's had nearly 30 and led the team in disposals. Sam Banks would be my only and best bet for this contest. Let's move forward to Saturday Twilight Football, 4:15 p.m. at GMHBA Stadium down in Geelong. The Cats take on the Gold Coast Suns and they are favoured by 17.5 points. Let's look at the ins and the outs for this game. Ins for Geelong, we have their captain and their star, Mr. Patrick Dangerfield, coming in at the expense of Ted Closey. And also Jack Martin comes in for his first game of the season for the Geelong Cats, well, club debut, of course. And out goes Ollie Henry being managed. On the Gold Coast side of things, in comes Ethan Reid, and out goes Ned Moyle, little ruck for ruck replacement there. The line of 7.5, it's probably bang on. I don't know if the Cats are blowing away teams right now. They beat the Eagles by 40 last Sunday, but it was very much a battle for 3 and a bit quarters before they kicked away late, and Jeremy Cameron was able to help increase their percentage late in that contest. I still think the Cats will win this game because their record at home is so strong and Gold Coast haven't quite proven themselves while travelling. But talent for talent-wise, the Suns are arguably more talented than the Cats right now. It's all about playing that ground, playing their system, and using the full effect of their stars, which is Dangerfield, which is Cameron, which is Stewart, which is Bailey Smith, and which is Max Holmes. You've noticed that when Danger plays, Cameron's stats aren't nearly as impressive. I think Cameron's kicked about 12 goals the last 2 weeks, maybe like 15 in the last 3 weeks. When Dangerfield plays, he doesn't kick those goals. Like he might kick 1 or 2, get up the ground, be more of a playmaker while Danger plays closer to goal. Will that be different this week? I still think Danger is best employed as a deep at home forward who can come barreling out of the square and is a mismatch when he's deep in the forward line. So I don't think that Cameron will kick 6-7 goals again this week, and you might have to lower your expectations if you're looking to bet on Jeremy Cameron or you own him in any sort of fantasy competition. Having said all that, I still think the Cats will win this game. I think the Suns mids will be able to have some sort of impact, but I wouldn't be betting on the likes of Noah Anderson because we can expect what Oshin Mullen or a Mark O'Connor tag. I don't know. O'Connor is playing and Mullen is playing. Now, we saw Oshin Mullen tag Nick Dacos to great effect only a couple of months ago. He tagged Zach Butters to great effect a couple of months ago. If I'm Chris Scott, I'm setting him straight to Noah Anderson, who is the best and most damaging player at the Gold Coast Suns. I think the Cats win. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a really good contest. It's not Labradoodle walking hour at 4:15 p.m. on Saturday this long weekend. Enjoy this good game of football. Let's move forward to Saturday night football, and it is over in Western Sydney. It's at NG Stadium. We've got the GWS Giants taking on the Port Adelaide Football Club. Now, ins for the Giants is... Oh, sorry. Let me fix this page. Into the Giants, we have Jacob Ware, Brent Daniels, who's been out for a couple of months. I love me some Stormy Daniels, and Nicholas Madden. Out goes Callan Ward, sadly suffered an ACL injury last Saturday. Likely by the end of his AFL career. What a great player he's been. Out goes Kieran Briggs with an injury, and out goes Cody Angove. In for the Port Adelaide Football Club, Asaba Radigalia, Kane Farrell, and Josh Sin. Out goes Logan Evans, out goes Ollie Lord, and out goes the Rat, Rory Atkins. The line for this one is, I think, 20.5 points as I sit here right now on Friday afternoon. Geez, I think the Giants are a far better team right now than Port Adelaide. Having said that, I think both these teams are not great. I mean, the Giants are they're a 7th to 12th side, and Port Adelaide are a 12th to 18th side. They are playing some really poor football. They've been largely uncompetitive in games against teams in the top 8. The Giants are just on the bottom reaches of the top 8. I think they'll win by 20 points quite easily. I mean, Port are playing pretty poor football. I don't know if they're in it for the long term with Ken. They keep saying, Ken, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to coach out the year. I want to collect my my pension. I want to collect my super. So that's understandable. You don't want to leave 3 months early. But in reality, you're playing shocking footy. Carr is right there. The coach in waiting, Josh Carr, is sitting there next to you, ready to take the reins and employ his ideas and his principles on this football club. I don't know what you are waiting for. Maybe it's a thrashing at the hands of the GWS Giants at NG Stadium. I think the Giants will be too strong in this one. Betting advice, I don't mind Lockie Whitfield, 25 touches, and Lockie Ash, 25 touches. These two players, they just get the pill. They know where to find it, and they know how to use it. So they obviously want to get the ball into their hands whenever they can. Whitfield has played more of a midfield wing forward role rather than a true halfback, which has been employed in the last couple of years and months. Lockie Ash obviously is a true halfback. All the ball flows through him off the back line, takes pretty much the majority of the kick-outs, but I still think they'll find a lot of footy in this one. Port don't have a natural tagger for an outside player, so yeah, I'd be stunned if these two don't flirt with the 25 touch mark, and they're both decent odds for this contest. Betting-wise, also for goals, it could be poor conditions, not certain yet. Has to look at Giants Stadium, but I don't mind Aaron Cadman, $1.20 any time. He kicks goals. He kicked a goal, I think, the last 5 games in a row. He's not a big goal kicker, but he's an anytime goal kicker. I think he'll pop up for one at some point, and $1.20, he's worth it for your big multis. Let's move forward to Sunday football over this beautiful long weekend. It is King's birthday. How do you celebrate King's birthday? Is it wearing a beanie, going to the footy, giving some money to raise some awareness and to help fight MND and eating some pies? I think that's how you support King's birthday, in my opinion. Anyway, Sunday afternoon football is over in Western Australia. We're at Hands Oval in Bunbury. Now, I've never been to Bunbury in my life. If you're a Bunbury resident, tell me what it's like over there and how you're going to enjoy this game between two of the powerhouses in the sport, North Melbourne and West Coast. The line right now is 8.5 points for the North Melbourne Football Club. And you might notice the way these teams are laid out. North of the home team. You're thinking, how the hell are North the home team? And why on earth is this game in Bunbury? Well, the case is North sell 2 home games a year now to Western Australia. They've been told by Tassie, get out. Just move on, okay? We're trying very hard to not have a football team. We don't need you here ruining it. So naturally, North have sold 2 games to Western Australia, and the first one takes place this Sunday at Hands Oval in Bunbury. Now, the ins and the outs of this one, it is Sunday squad, so nothing is concrete at this moment. Griffin Logue, Cooper Harvey, Callan Dawson, Bryn Teakle, and Robert Hanson Jr. all come into the North Melbourne squad. Out goes Aidan Core, and out goes Finbar Maley. Sorry, a little bit of a cough here. I better have a little bit of coffee from my Star Wars mug. No coffee left. Have a little bit of water. 1 sec. Much better. West Coast, in comes Jamie Cripps, in comes Clay Hall, and in comes Bally J. Williams. I swear Jamie Cripps was listed as a 4-week injury. He's back in 2. Unlike the AFL medical staff to not give you all the information, I think North will win this game. I mean, North have to win this game. It should be at Marvel. They've sold it to Western Australia to take on the team, which has been the poorest performing side outside North Melbourne over the last 3 seasons. Got to find a way to get it done. How they get it done? It has to be Tristan Sherry. Tristan Sherry is the best ruck in the league right now. He's playing against Matthew Flynn, who is a journeyman who has never had a dominant season in his career. Sherry is putting together the best season of his career. Anyway, last year he was dominant and should have been All-Australian. This year he's been even better. It's got to be Sherry, it's got to be Wardlaw, it's got to be Sheasel. And finally, can we get a good LDU game? LDU in Supercoach is averaging 95. Now, Supercoach Darcy, why are you quoting fantasy stats in order to make your argument? Well, my argument is that he's not getting enough of the ball, he's not using it well, he's not kicking goals, okay? That's my argument. What is going on with LDU this year? I know it's a contract year, but usually in a contract year, once that's all settled and you sign and you say, I'm here for the long haul and I'm a good player, I'm allegedly an A-grader, go out and play some good footy. What happened? What happened to LDU this season? He's so far below what we should expect from a rising star or someone that could be an All-Australian. He's just not at that level right now. It is time to put the foot down and take it out on this West Coast Eagles midfield, which has struggled over the last few seasons. It needs to be an LDU game. It needs to be a Sheasel game. And most importantly, it must be a Sherry and Nick Larkey game. If those players show up, North will just win. Doesn't matter. The game could be on the moon. It could be at Arden Street. In fact, it's at Hands Oval. Get your hands on the footy. Use it well. Win the contest. Okay? North, get it done. Betting-wise, well, because it's Sunday squads, there's no one I really love just yet. This could be the only dry game over the whole weekend. Not predicted to be any sort of rain Hands Oval in Western Australia. So I might get to you back later in the weekend about some disposals and some goals. But right now, let's just get a win for North Melbourne. Okay? North so badly need it for this competition and to keep the pressure off Clarkson and this club. Because if you sell a game to Western Australia and you lose to the West Coast Eagles, boy, the knives will be out. And we move forward to Sunday night football at the MCG. It is Essendon taking on Carlton in what is now the traditional King's Birthday Eve contest. Let's look at the ins and the outs from this big game. In for Carlton Football Club, Jack Silvani, Zach Williams, Orazio Fantasia, Hudson O'Keefe and Alex Shinkotta come into the squad. Out goes Harry O'Farrell and out goes Lewis Young. For Essendon, in comes Darcy Parish, Luamon Loal and Liam McMahon to their extended bench. Now we expect Darcy Parish to come into the team. He's named first on the interchange. He's played 2 games in the VFL. He should have a strong impression in this contest and really play maybe 3 quarters or so and hopefully have some sort of impact in what has been an injury plague last couple of seasons. On the Carlton side of things, Jack Silvani is a big in for this team. Fantasia, interested to see who he'll play against the old mob, hasn't barely played the last couple of seasons. And Alex Shinkotta will most likely come in for Carlton after effectively tagging Zach Merritt the last few times these 2 teams have played. Now, Carlton have a good record against the Bombers. I think Essendon might have won this contest in 2023, but since then they've played 3 times and Carlton have been not quite dominant, but they've been in control of every single game. Who's my tip for this game? Well, it's probably going to be Carlton. I know that it's so anti-Essendon of me, but realistically, Essendon are going to win a whole heap of games. I mean, they've been gutsy, they've been close, but Carlton are the better team. Carlton are not ruined by injuries right now. Carlton aren't missing their 3 best key defenders. So why wouldn't Carlton win? You've got Curnow, you've got Mackay, you've got a dual Brownlow medalist in Patrick Cripps, okay? You've got Sam Walsh, you've got George Hewitt, you've got Adam Chera, you've got TDK. Your team is far, far better. It would be a catastrophe if Carlton were to lose to Essendon right now with the state they're in. Will Carlton lose? They could. I sure hope they do. but they should just win this game against their most fierce rival, who they claim to be better than, who they claim is the filth, is the dirt. If you can't win this, then what the hell do you stand for as a club, and where on earth are you going? On the Bomber side of things, I expect a good effort. I expect them to be competitive for 3 quarters, but ultimately Carlton will run away with the game in the 4th if it is close. Only way Essendon can win is a Nick Martin, Darcy Parish, Zach Merritt masterclass. It needs to be their prime movers in the midfield and the back line who are able to help transition the ball and get it into that forward half. Because I think Essendon's forward half could be decent in this game. They can make an impression. They can kick some goals through Perkins, through Wright, through Caddy, through maybe even Kako, who's been quiet. I think their forward half is okay. It's whether their defense can hold up in the first half, because we saw Brisbane take it to them and put it on the board like instantly. I think they had a 5-goal first half, 5-goal first quarter. They really built that lead early, which Essendon was able to claw back, but never eventually really hit the front and get a bit of a break. If Carlton have that lead early, I don't think Essendon can crawl it back. And in what looks like to be wet conditions, it should prove to be too much. Betting-wise, I think it's too early. Sunday squads, I don't know the conditions yet or who exactly is playing. Similar to the next game in Collingwood and Melbourne, no need to do a full preview right now on Friday afternoon because we don't have teams. I don't even know who's playing. I don't know what the weather's going to be. I just know that Collingwood are probably going to win because they're playing Melbourne, who they always beat. Okay, that's all I know. I know that Carlton have a very good record against Essendon in recent memory, so they'll probably win as well. That's it for the preview for round 13. I know it's only about 25, 30 minutes right now, even though there's, 8 games. That's okay. I'm trying to give you all the information you can before you enjoy your beautiful long weekend. We've got Game 2 of the NBA Finals on Monday at 10 a.m. Cannot wait to watch that. If the Pacers win that, then damn it, they're probably going to win the NBA title. How exciting is that? But until then, enjoy the footy. Enjoy the long weekend. We've got a great game tonight over in Adelaide. We've got some great games tomorrow at the MCG and one at NG Stadium and one at GMHPA as well. And on Sunday, we've got a great game at the MCG. And finally, to wrap it all up, a brilliant contest back at the MCG to help fight MND and support a great cause. I'll see you all at the footy this weekend. I'll definitely see you on Sunday at the G to see the Bombers take on the Blues. But until then, enjoy the footy. Have a good time. This is Slam Talk Sports. Enjoy your weekend.